or you can.
Joel, we're ready to go.
Thank you. Okay, we're live now. Welcome everyone to the Pandemic Recovery Task Force meeting. It is July 26th. Hard to believe we're already into July, almost the end of the month. Thank you, Holly, for circulating the package. I assume everyone received it and had a chance to review it. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the agenda as circulated. Penny, thank you. And a seconder. Pam, thank you. If anyone has any pecuniary interest to declare, please do so now. And if any arises throughout the meeting, please make sure you bring it to our attention. Along with the agenda, Holly had attached the previous minutes. I assume everyone had a chance also to review those. So I'd like to call for a motion to approve the draft minutes as circulated. Linda, thank you. Rod, thank you. Moving on, was there any business arising from the previous minutes? I didn't see any, but just in the event that there was any from anyone else. Okay. Agenda item number 6 is the agency survey results. Brenda, will you please review those with us?
Sure, thank you. So we received 13 responses to the survey, and I'll just share my screen. I'll take you through the charts and the graphs, not the long answers from people, but
thank you.
So we asked how many employees we had, the organizations had. We used a lot of the same questions from the last survey we had so that we could compare whether or not things had gotten better. So the majority of organizations have 3 to 5 employees. They normally serve quite a few clients. So the pink is 1,000 to 4,999. Or are very small, 1 to 149. We asked them to estimate the percentage of clients that they were currently able to serve. So the purple here is 75 to 100%. The pink is over 100%, so they're serving more now than they did prior to the pandemic. Just flip through there. We asked how optimistic they were that their organization would be able to continue to provide services over the 6 months, the next year, and the next 2 to 3 years. So this was quite positive. Everyone felt that they were either moderately, very, or extremely able to continue providing their services. So we didn't have any that said that they were unsure or not at all, or even slightly not optimistic. And I will just flip through here because it's the same stuff, just more detail. We asked if they applied to the Community Pandemic Recovery Fund. Out of the 13, only 4 of them applied. We asked those that didn't apply why they didn't apply. 7 of them said funding wasn't required, and 1 said that they didn't actually meet the criteria. The 4 that applied for funding all received it. And then we asked what financial barriers they anticipate over the next year. So lower fundraising revenues was the highest, then higher expenses due to COVID-19, and then shortage of volunteers. We asked about the workshops that we provided and if they attended. The majority did not attend, so that's this big blue bar. But those that did attend, we had 2 at Grant Writing 101, 2 at Innovation for Nonprofits, 2 at Mental Health Supporting Strategies, 1 Graphic Design with Canva, and 1 overview of virtual meeting platforms. We did ask them for some feedback on all of those workshops, so they've written that out, and we'll take a look at that feedback and make any changes if we're doing workshops going forward. Then we asked what topics were of interest for further workshops. And the top ones here were strategic planning after COVID-19, wellness support for employees and volunteers, and legal and HR implications of COVID-19. And I think that was it. We asked if there was anything else that they wanted us to look at, and we got some really great comments back. So now I would suspect the working group will have a discussion about those and see what the next steps are.
Thank you, Brenda. Did anyone from the working group want to add any comments? I found it quite interesting, the number of respondents, which was really good. And the feedback was valuable. I did also take a quick scan of it. It was interesting to see that not many of them attended the workshops, but we know that there were many other organizations that attended, so that we can see that lots of different organizations benefited from the work that we had done, either workshop or not, or the funding. So it was a real mix of things, which was really nice to see that folks were able to tap into what they needed, and they all needed something a little different. Did anyone else have any comments or have any questions about the results?
Just a question, if I could, Heather.
Go ahead.
It's Ron here. Just through you
Yes.
to Brenda. With this survey, is it still available on the Jump In site, or is it going to be put on that site for people to participate, or is it just going to be offered the once, the survey to the people there?
It's on the Jump In site. We sent a link directly to all of the organizations, so that big list of organizations that Holly manages for us. We sent it directly to them. So
Okay.
they have that. And we gave them, I think it was 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Great. So thank you to the working group who put together the questions and worked on that. And thank you, Brenda, for facilitating the Jump In aspect of it. I know there are some folks that find it challenging with Jump In because they have to sign in, and so we should consider some of those barriers moving forward, if how to make that sign in easier, so that we can get participation. So moving to the next agenda item, number 7, Rod was going to cover the overall activities and outcomes of the task force.
Thanks, Heather. So following our last meeting in terms of the discussion about sort of where the task force goes from here, had a conversation with the CAO as well as with the mayor at SMT around the task force, as well as the Economic Development Task Force, or Economic Recovery Task Force. Both groups, the terms of reference for ours had a specific term that actually covers up until the end of this year, December 31st, 2021, with the initial mandate. So in discussions as we're moving into the city, the corporation is moving into pandemic recovery mode more operationally now, and will be further into the next couple months, as well as with the primary activities of both task force being primarily completed to date. The mayor was looking for at the October committee of the whole meeting, look up the date of that, it was the second Tuesday in October, having an overview, sort of summary presentation from both task forces, but including this one, around the activities of the task force, just sort of covering off what the activities were, the outcomes to date, for example, the summary of the grants through the fund, probably the information solicited through the surveys Brenda presented from the initial one, and as Brenda was highlighting some of the things that have changed in this most recent survey, sort of highlighting that, and the feedback from the community groups, and presenting that at the October committee of the whole for council. And in essence, it wasn't a direction or any specific activities noted to continue, but at that time council could consider, where does it go from here? Do these task forces wrap up in their current state, complete their initial mandate, and then look at other opportunities going forward, or provide direction after that? But as the term is set to expire this year, that was the request for that October meeting at this point. And really, I think beyond that, I think there's continuing opportunities, and that could be referenced probably through the presentation, but where the information is taken, how some of the information that's been gathered, the connections made continue through networks, continuing to offer development opportunities for the community and agencies, and align with some of the other work going forward as well. The community safety well-being plan, for example, is just getting underway and detailed as well. And there'll certainly be connections there, as a lot of the input will probably be driven by experience during the pandemic. But that following that meeting in October and that summary, we would get a better sense of what direction, if any, the task force would have specifically, or how that would evolve going forward. So that was sort of the next steps with that. Like I said, I'd look at my calendar, but I believe it's October 13th. Sounds familiar for that date, but sorry, just trying to find my calendar. Sorry, it is October 5th as the committee of the whole meeting, Tuesday, October 5th. So I'm not sure if that would be a discussion with the co-chairs around who would lead that presentation or prepare and help prepare. Probably with Brenda's help around the survey results, definitely, but anything that the chairs required, just let us know. And that's it
Okay.
for that.
Okay, yeah, my next question was what do you need from the group, from the task force? Amy and I can definitely put together a presentation and work with you and Brenda on that. I wonder if maybe we could come up with a few questions just from our task force members to get feedback from that side as well, that we can include just as an overall, from our group as a whole, so we can speak from everyone's perspective. I will connect with Amy about that, and Rod, maybe I'm not sure what vacation times look like in August, but maybe the three of us can connect in August and just touch base about, how much time, what sort of content, and we can kind of go from there and start to gather in everything.
Yeah, I'd say, August or early September, maybe send some dates around. Like work with Holly, maybe just to look at some dates, just to talk about the look of that. And the ask out to the members again, like experience, feedback that everybody's heard, personal experience, professional experience, and feedback that we can incorporate in there. And again, any recommendations too, because it's an opportunity from the task force, if there's specific things, not necessarily for the task force itself, but for recommendations out of the experience to make to council at that as well, in support of programs coordination. It could be continuing to work with economic development and other groups within the city to continue some of this work as well. Okay,
sounds great. Thank you, Rod. I'll be excited to see all the information compiled into one. We've done a lot of work in a short period of time, so it'll, we sort of bit and piece it together over the last many, 16 months, but to put it all together into one spot, I think will be really interesting and really beneficial to see that. I know we've made impacts into the community, so putting all that together. If there's anything else on that, I will move on to agenda item number 8 for working group updates. I can express from the community fund update. I provided it the last meeting and nothing has changed since then. And I think I can speak on behalf of the other one and say Brenda did the summary of the survey results, and I think that would cover the update for the other working group that Amy was leading, unless Marina or Linda had anything else to add to that. Nothing else to add. Okay, so at this time, there's no updates. Everything is, we've wrapped up the fund. The second intake survey results are in and will be evaluated and looked at for the next steps on that. Moving on to agenda item number 9. Is there anything anyone would like to add to the roundtable discussion at this point? Seeing nothing to add. Holly, was there any correspondence? No correspondence. Okay, thank you.
No correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Rod, what were you thinking for next meeting? Knowing that you had just mentioned the committee of the whole presentation on October 5th. Do we need to meet prior to that, or should we meet after that to discuss any decisions that come out of that meeting? What's your feeling on that?
I was going to suggest maybe following our meeting, if we can, maybe in August, just from a planning group standpoint for the presentation. If there's an opportunity for some input around the discussion, like with the group, perhaps in maybe mid-September, might be a good touch point ahead of the October meeting, just to share that out and be able to sort of confirm any other input or comments to the presentation. Perhaps like the second to third week of September timing.
Okay.
But we can confirm that maybe if we have that meeting to plan the planning meeting for that into middle of August or so, and maybe we can confirm after that if that works.
We can present the draft in the mid-September. The mid-September is either the 13th or the 20th.
When the timing would probably be lots of time ahead of it. I was just gonna say the 20th from a timing perspective would be good timing ahead of the October 5th presentation.
Yes.
That works for everybody.
We see a show of hands. Just if a majority is available, we'll go with the 20th. Everyone's looking good. Okay, yeah, thanks, Penny. I see. Great. Okay, so yeah, it's September 20th at 10, and Rod and Amy and I can work together and get the presentation, the draft presentation to at that meeting. So we'll come up with some of those questions Rod was expressing earlier with regards to committee member feedback and input and that sort of thing. So we'll get those questions out after our meeting in August, and then we can make any adjustments at the September 20th meeting. Did anyone have anything else to add to our meeting today? No, thank you all so much for your time in the summer. I know it's tough to have busy schedules and that sort of thing, and vacations and working around that. So anyway, we appreciate all your time, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your summer, and we'll be meeting back again on September 20th.
I know. Thanks a lot.
Everyone. Oh,
thanks, Heather. Thanks, everybody.
All adjournment. Who would like to adjourn? Marina, you're quick on that one, Marina. And Pat, thank you. Councillor Dunn. I almost forgot to adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Holly.